let's talk about mixing alcohol and medicinal mushrooms. I'm a legal mushroom facilitator in the state of Oregon, and that is by far and away the biggest thing that comes up in my retreats is can I drink? Or they just drink and then they don't think anything about it. They're just day drinkers, and they drink a lot, and then I kind of find out about it afterwards because they will come into a group dynamic and something will be really off and we'll all know it, and then we're like, oh, that's what it is. So I ask people in my retreat, I ask women in my retreats not to partake of drinking because we'll need all of you there. We will need the whole soul and the whole spirit. And what drinking tends to do is it brings you below consciousness. I don't know if you've heard this before, but it's one of those drugs that's a depressant, and it brings you below consciousness. So you tend to numb out, and you tend to lose your inhibitions, and you tend to lose your ability to be completely in the moment as yourself. And it also is a social lubricant, so then that way you can lessen the anxiety of being in a group and kind of create that kind of a little bit more of a party atmosphere, or use it as a crutch if you're used to using alcohol as a crutch, which I did. Every social situation I was in, I would have an IPA in my hand. There's no judgment here. But when I do my retreats and when I do legal mushroom facilitation, we don't mix alcohol and mushrooms, because the mushrooms are in itself its own entity. Also remember this for if you're going to any sort of rave or party or concert, though I doubt you're on my page if you're doing that. But if you go to any of those and you mix the alcohol, that's really hard for us that are facilitators. Because then we're like, okay, what are you on? Like, are you on any pharmaceuticals? Are you on other depressants or antidepressants? And how much alcohol did you have? And what type of alcohol? Is there any greenery involved as well? And then are there mushrooms on top of that? And then is there acid on top of that? And it gets really muddy really quickly. And that also gets really muddy really quickly in your own body. And especially add hormones, and especially add age. And it just becomes a mess when I would rather just deal with something that is like clear water. I would much rather be as little mud as possible in our little creek here. So that is why with my retreats, I just say, let's concentrate only on the mushrooms and being present in the moment. And if there's any of that social anxiety that comes up, or being in a group is socially, causes any sort of social anxiety, let's just sit with it. And that's what we're gonna do in the first night, is just get comfortable in just sitting with it. And before you know it, when you tackle it head on and you're just sitting with it, it's amazing what a difference it makes. And quickly, and sometimes for some people, myself included, just 3 days at a retreat can change the way that you feel about everything. It shines a light, and it did for me on my first retreat without alcohol. I was like, oh my God, I actually am using alcohol for any time I'm interacting with women, because I'm nervous about interacting with women, because I haven't had the greatest time of that in my own family or holidays or anything else like that. So alcohol is used a lot of times for that. So we get rid of the crutches and we just go full in. So this retreat that I do is a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of being very authentic and not using things as crutches. It's being very present for yourself and for other people. And sometimes for people, I would say the majority of people, that's the first time they're having an interaction like that. It's the first time they're interacting with people, and those people aren't on their phones. We also take a social media break of 3 days. So it's a real retreat rehab from our normal society of the things that distract us and depress us and take us away from the authenticity of the current moment. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully I didn't make it more confusing. Let me know.